Okay, hey everybody, this is Grace, and I am sitting outside at 7:50 p.m. on July 30th. Temperature is 98 degrees Fahrenheit. Of course, what else? Well, there is something else, but wouldn't it be that high? In 2025. And just finished up one video. It's just more like a vlog. And what I started it off to talk about was gluttony. How many people even know the word these days? Seriously, no matter what age. How many people have ever had it taught? Remember being told as a child, what is gluttony? What is this thing doing here? It's that time of the day when just stuff gets weird out here. Seriously. Really? Okay. Anyway, but one thing before that, I have a list of 4 things I wanted to talk about, highlights. And one of them, the first one was mainly about, right before gluttony. It was about, have you ever known somebody or heard about, like when I was young, we didn't have social media, so it was something we heard about, or we knew. Somebody who just didn't want to work. They really were, some would just call them lazy. It wasn't so much like people were digging in deeper than that and saying, oh, well, they must be depressed, or they must be that, or whatever. Quite often, I mean, a cigar is just a cigar. Sometimes it's not all that. Other things. But no, it's just like a person doesn't want to do anything. They want to sit at home and be a couch potato. I remember when people started saying couch potato. And I'm 62. But really, that some people, they just did not want to work. And they wanted to find a way. Some people, they said they're taking care of their parents. Some people legitimately were taking care of their parents. I took care of my mother. And me and one of my sisters, she did most often because she lived there. I lived far away. And I had to have my mom come up here, or go get her, have her come up here. She had dementia, like I said, and I take care of her for however long. And I wouldn't work because she had dementia. She couldn't be by herself. And anyway, it's along this line. But some people were not. Some people just didn't want to work. They wanted to just live off of somebody else. And now these days, with the social media and all that, there are people who want to be, influencers or whatever else you want to call them, and make money off their audiences when they make their videos on whatever platform that they can make money off of, and however they can make it, donations or whatever, to all these different apps and everything. And that's the way they don't want to work. They want to go and have fun, whatever they find is fun, and maybe do a little work, and that could be fun to them. To me, when I go out and do for my health insurance, what I do is fun. It's kind of fun for me. Sometimes it's not so much fun, but yeah. Anyway, some people, they want to do as little as possible. And me, I have health conditions. I had that diagnosed in March with heart failure. And they said, don't worry, it's a big word. The guy said, it's a big word, but big scary word. It's more than one word, but it said it's just a warning right now. Okay. Anyway, but some people, they make up stuff. They will make up anything. I've seen these kind of grifters. I'm a little distracted. Hold on. Okay, where was I? Now, some people, they don't want to work, so they find ways, and then they make up. Some of them make up things about their health, and some of them they just lie. They lie or they cries. Lies or cries is what I wrote down here. Some of them, well, they're grifters. They're E-Beggars. And they'll find anything to tell anybody, whatever works with their audience, whatever works and makes the audience feel sorry for them, leave them all these comments, and then start sending them money, whatever way they can. Like through, I don't know all the things on all these different, platforms, social media platforms. But I know some people, they use those PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, whatever it is. And they have people pay them that way. And some of these people will donate a lot of money. So they found their way of grifting, their way of, these are small scams. Some of them, they lie. They say that they don't have, the biggest one, 11 years now on just one platform. My channel, YouTube channel, will be 11 years old next month. 11 years. I've seen quite a bit every year. It comes around. As if 'tis the season for these to, find ways of getting money off their audience, and their audience will pay. A lot of them, then people start figuring out stuff and they start complaining. But anyway, how many of us knew before all this? For some people, there is no before all this, but people just didn't want to work. And the lengths that they would go to, and then now with social media, the lengths that they would go to, that they become, so much into just lying. I remember reading something here recently, like a couple weeks ago or so, or maybe a little bit longer, that it was the, I Googled it, and then the AI overview come up, and it said some of this could actually be considered as illegal. The people who get online and they say, oh, we don't have groceries, or whatever it is. I'm not a legal person, I'm not a voice of authority on this, but that's what it said. And I don't remember which one it said, but it could be considered as fraud or something like that. And some people, they just don't care. Really. Whatever draws in money. And, and I was going to tie that to this of gluttony and greed. I already have in various ways, but the gluttony, some of them, they will say stuff, about that they don't have money for groceries, and all the while, we don't fat shame people. We'll strike that term. That fat, just the word fat, is shaming people. So it's, you can say weight, size, whatever, shaming. Okay, see, and it rolls off my tongue the same way as fat, because that's all what I've heard so many years. That's bad, that's bad, that's bad. So strike it. But seriously, we don't do that. Many of us were raised, you don't do that. And raised appropriately. But these are people who are, they say they don't have money for groceries, but there's evidence that they are lying. Okay, some of them cook elaborate meals. The meal for just themselves and one other person. The whole of what they cooked. Just one meal. How much would you say that one meal, you eat how many meals at home a day? Do you eat all three? Say it's a day. You eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner at home. Are you going to pay, like, for you and one other person, whether it's your child, your teenager's child, your adult child, your spouse, whatever, your significant other, you and somebody else? How much would you say a meal, your breakfast would cost, your lunch would cost, your dinner would cost to eat at home, to eat and make at home? Some of these actually do. It's going to be different from, depending on what state you live in, what place you live in. But say it's inexpensive, say it winds up being expensive. Like here, I would say a meal at home for, I don't know. I had actually looked it up and said a meal at home for average person was like $5 or $6, and I was thinking, really? You can cook at home, is that? Breakfast maybe, because you can cook some, eggs, and you don't have to have everything else. But I don't know. But I've mentioned umpteen times in various videos that I actually calculated what somebody was cooking, and for a meal for 2 people, and it was $80. Yeah, one meal, the whole thing, all of it, and that was just that was just a side salad and an entree. $80. You got 3 meals a day. Well, there's a little question about why you don't have enough money for groceries or in your budget if that's what you're eating, and you're an average, you're not dirt poor, but you're not filthy rich. Those are the terminologies people used to use. We don't use them anymore. But you see what I'm saying? Say, oh, we don't have enough money. We won't have enough money for groceries and da da da. Well, don't make $80 meals. No, but they want to have their audience pay for this stuff. I can tell you some of the stuff that I have seen. I'm a person who's had so much experiences, so many experiences in life that would just make most people go, what the? And their mouths open in their total shock. I'm really sure that most people don't experience the stuff that I have in my life. But I'm watching some of these, and I really don't get too surprised anymore, and I didn't since I was in my 30s. I mean, even before then, I was no longer, so surprised. Every once in a while something will happen. But these days, it's like, really? What the? Not really. I shouldn't be laughing. None of that's funny. But some of the stuff that I see these people do is just so disgusting. It's despicable. That word is correct. The behaviors are despicable. The whole grifting, the whole lying, and they don't even say they've. When I was young, people would say things about liars. Okay, they say they've lied so much that they don't even know the truth. They believe their own lies. Along this line, and some of these people, you can see that they really kind of do. They lie so much. They started to believe their own lies. But anyway, and on top of it, let's see what else I wrote on my list was they use Christianity. That's the most pathetic. That is the most low. That's as low as you can go, really. They'll say that they're Christians, and they'll even drag out their Bibles and flip through their Bibles as if that's proving, or play the music. That's proving that they're Christian. No, it's not. No, it's not. Anybody can get a Bible and flip through it. But when you go and you lie to people, is that showing it? Nope. Just so you can get some money. Love of money. So anyway, my voice is going out again. But yeah, I've been on this year longer than I think any of these 11 years. That I have been seeing these. I'm not the only person, of course, who sees them. There are so many reaction channels. There's actually that I even know of. I don't go looking for it. But this was a woman she used to copycat me and a whole bunch of other people. It even took one of my stories in my private life. I never really talk about stuff like that. And she took it, made her own. She had a lot of people didn't like her. Still don't. And, but there's a reaction channel about her. And her channel is a reaction channel to another woman that a lot of people have reaction channels to. There's a lot of reaction channels, and they're just, some of them, not all on any of this, but some of them are just as bad. Seriously, they're just as bad as the people they're complaining about. So, yeah. But anyway, what else? But I've been making these kinds of videos, and it's kind of boring. It's the same lather, rinse, repeat. It's the same. It's just like I say in my life, I was, most behaviors that I've seen in other people is that of they're kind of histrionic. If you look at DSM and personality disorders, cluster B, the narcissistic, histrionic, borderline, and antisocial personality disorders, their behaviors, quite most of them fall under histrionic. The look at me types, the drama queens, drama kings, mean girls, mean boys. Their voices are very loud and obnoxious. They're loud and obnoxious all around. Their voice, their cackles, their appearance, their clothing, their hair, their whatever. They can make sure that everybody in the world sees them from satellite on another planet. I mean, not satellite on another planet, but from another planet. Seriously. My goodness. But I was born and raised into that. I mean, I saw it so much. And it just continues. And then these days is all of this of the people getting online and finding ways to con other people. I don't want to blame victims. But I would like to say, the people who are fooled by them, I don't want to even use the word fooled, because these people are master manipulators. They know how to play with people's emotions and feelings. And then there's people who are doing it and falling for it. But some things I would, is what I say to, I say it to myself, is stick around. Stick around and watch. It's like the boy who cried wolf. If you're there every time that boy cries wolf and you see that boy cry wolf and you never see the wolf, and then none of the sheep have been eaten by the wolf, then that's a pattern there. And you catching on that boy's just crying wolf. There's no such thing. You're just doing it for fun and attention and whatever else that boy wants from it. But some of these, I don't think they, some people won't stick around to wait and go, wait a minute now, I've seen this story before. I've heard it before. They say, oh, I don't have money. Oh, I have this big, huge, big ticket dollar I gotta pay. Man, they get all those people paying all that money that they can. Oh, I promise you, we're such a good community. We'll help you out. We'll help you out. Yeah. But do they stick around to see the person? What then? How long is it going to take until the next one? They just don't want to work. They just want to sit back, eat their $80 each meal, $80. Well, breakfast would be cheaper probably. And sit back, live high off the hog. That's expressions. I'm not using it right, I don't think. But you get the picture. And that's what they think that they're worth. And they're going to turn around and say, I don't have money for groceries. People rush. Send them some money, yeah. They'll send them a lot of money. Thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars. I remember the first time I saw thousands of dollars people sent was a woman who was not poor. Okay? She was not. In fact, she was kind of up there, and I should know, up there. I've been from the bottom on up. Okay? And not to the top 1%, but hey. Nope. And you sometimes bounce back and forth, back and down and up and out. I've been through a lot. And then there's any day, you never know what's going to happen the next. I'd say it that way. I've been through that myself. But the people who get on there and they beg, they do find ways to manipulate their audience so their audience will pay them. And they have so much money themselves. They are not needing it. And the people that are giving it are the people who are like on a fixed income. I'm on this kick every year. Usually, I'd say average once a year. I don't know about last few years, really, though. Last couple or so. But, yeah. Maybe not last year. So I'm making up for it this year, I guess. But it's so despicable. It's just what they do. It helps me. This is what I do. I vent. I don't name their channels. Don't name their names. I just vent out. I just talk about the behaviors and how despicable it is. And I use this for my pressure release valve, to vent. Yeah. Anyway, but there's also greed. These things just aren't talked about enough, I think, these days. Because some people might not know what is greed. What is gluttony? How would you know? I mean, I'm not an expert on what a person looks like whenever they sit back and eat a whole bunch of food all day long, kick their feet up, don't want to work, don't want to move around. I'm not a voice of authority on that. Not a healthcare person physical healthcare person who would know. But is that stuff being talked about anymore? Because we do have this thing. Don't weight shame people. Don't size shame people. And that's a good thing. Both of those are all good things. But at the same time, we kind of need to know. I think it kind of goes along with it. Of what is a person who is, who just doesn't want to work, who's using us, who's lying to us? Is that a sign? What would it be? Anyway, wrapping it up. I think I've done enough on this. Talk to you on another video. Bye.